Hi, I'm Jessie Budzinski. I'm the Assistant Department Chair for Human Services and Communication, and I'm here today with Mattie Lemay, and she's going to talk to us about her journey in our Human Services program. So, welcome, Mattie.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you could let us know the degree that you're currently working on and kind of where you're at in the program right now.
Yeah, so I'm working on my Master's of Science in Human Services, and I took the focus with the community and organization human services. I
Great.
started the program right at a year ago, and
Okay.
then I'm set to graduate a year from now. So I will be in
Awesome.
2 years total. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, you're like at the midway point. That's great.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Can you see the light at the end of the tunnel?
I can. When I first
Good.
started, I thought it would never get here. But yeah, and I hope to. So I'm just taking one class at a time right now.
Okay.
But I'm hoping like life is getting more situated. I'm getting more used to being a student again because I hadn't been in
Right.
college for, oh gosh, I graduated from my bachelor's in 2000, when did I graduate? 2014, I guess. So it had
Okay.
been a long time, yeah, since I'd been back
Yeah.
in school. I'm getting back into the swing of it, so hopefully I can kind of ramp things up a little bit in my next few terms and graduate
Good.
earlier.
Good.
Yeah.
And it goes quickly is what everybody says, and I feel like that's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the shorter term classes, like the 10-week
Yep.
classes, because you get to week 5 and then all of a sudden you're done.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah, that
it's
definite.
been, yeah, about the
Yeah.
time you're like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Then you're like, okay, I've only got 2 weeks
Right.
left. I can make it.
Right. I
Yeah.
can do this. I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So would you mind just telling us a little bit about your educational journey, how you found PG, where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah.
before, that type of thing?
Yeah, so I have like a really unique journey. I was a nurse, so I did my bachelor's degree. I had a master's of science in nursing.
Okay.
Um, and I was a nurse for about 10 years. And then I ran into addiction. So I
Okay.
struggled with addiction for, oh gosh, about 5 years. I will be 4 years sober in January. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. But in that, I ended up being incarcerated. So I
Okay.
was incarcerated from, let's see, for about 2 years. I got out in July of 22
Okay.
and had to completely restart my life. So I couldn't be a nurse anymore
Yeah.
because I had drug charges. I mean, I can, but it's 10 years down the road, and I had to figure out
Right.
something to do right now.
Right.
So I found an organization called Center for Employment Opportunities because I really didn't know. I thought my life was over. I thought my time of
Right.
helping people was over. And I just absolutely had no direction whatsoever. So I took this, I did transitional work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're a program that helps people coming out of incarceration find employment. They're a
Okay.
nonprofit, they're nationwide. I'm based in Oklahoma City. But they provide transitional work with the goal of connecting you to full time employment opportunities.
Okay.
Well, just in coming in and being engaged with the program, I ended up being an intern with them. So
Oh,
I interned learning how to do work in like the nonprofit world, which is really
yep.
like where I started to see hope at the end of the tunnel again, light at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, maybe I can help people again. Maybe there's just this whole new world that I had no idea was out there.
Right. Right.
The human services world, the social services world, nonprofit. I just had no idea what a community there was out there and what
Mhm.
opportunities there were for individuals like me. So
Right.
I did the internship. Um, I took like a part-time position with them, and then I did another temporary position. And then I applied and ended up being full-time with them in April of 23.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
yeah, 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 yeah. So at that point in time, I was like really thinking um, like where I wanted my career to go,
Mm-hmm.
um, and found out that I just have a love for this work. So not
Yeah.
only do I like, am I back to helping people, which is what my original goal was, when I was in high
Right.
school,
Right.
um, but also I have like the lived experience and the empathy and the resiliency that really enables me to connect to our participants, our program participants,
Right.
and anyone else who's
Right.
been through my journey. And there's just a tremendous amount of like healing and strength that comes from like sharing your story and turning something that was so horrible into something so
Mm-hmm.
positive.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started thinking, I grew up in a family that placed a really, really high value on education. And while I had like my transferable skills from my nursing degree, and all those professional skills that I had, I really didn't feel like I had a foundational or like an educational foundation or a backbone for the work that I was doing. So I
Sure.
started looking into different degrees that directly related to the work that I'm doing now. And that's how I came to Purdue and the human services. Purdue
Mm.
was really attractive to me because of the flexibility. Like I decided I wanted to pursue my master's. I didn't want to wait a year to
Yep.
enroll.
Yep.
I didn't want to go through a really lengthy enrollment process. I didn't want to have to fight my background because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
colleges have background restrictions. I
Right.
didn't want to have to fight that. I just wanted to go somewhere, be accepted,
Yeah.
um, and just start my life over. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what brought me to Purdue, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, what a
Yeah,
story. I mean, that really
yeah,
hit me. I'm sure it'll hit a lot of our students too. I appreciate that you shared that. It's
yeah,
very
absolutely.
powerful. Very
Thank
powerful.
you, thank you, thank you.
Um, I have lots of questions I want to ask you, but what are you
Yeah.
hoping to do once you graduate? Are you hoping to stay where you're at, or do you want to try other things?
Ultimately, yeah, I love CEO. You know, there's a sense of loyalty I have to CEO
Sure.
because they gave me my start. But ultimately, I want to continue to do the work that I'm doing now, move into more of a leadership role. I'm kind of doing like frontline work that's very um, like participant facing, but we have a lot of teams that do a lot of national work and kind of have that broader, like more creative. How can we have more of an impact nationwide? I'd really like to work in like policy and advocacy and organizing work
Awesome.
to
Awesome.
yeah, just to have a broader impact on people outside of just my local community. So
Yeah,
that's the
there's
goal.
that's great. There's such a need for that. So I always
Yeah,
love when I hear students realize that and thinking about it before they graduate. So that's great.
yeah, absolutely.
What has helped you to persevere, persist, and
Mhm.
also I'm sure as all of our students are working adults, just kind of juggle everything. How are you navigating all that?
Yeah, so it was difficult. The first term, I was like really gung ho and excited about it. I had, you know, I'm living with my mom, fortunately. So in all this, I got a divorce. I have two younger kids that are living with me, and then
Okay.
my oldest son lives with my ex-husband, and we co-parent. So
Okay.
there's a lot of like driving back and forth on the
Sure.
weekends. My daughter is in dance and student, all these different things that take time in the evenings. And then I also homeschool them on top of that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, the first semester was great. I was really gung ho and excited about it. But then the second semester, I really struggled. I ended up being put on like a success plan because I ended up with a C in that just because I couldn't juggle everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of stopped and was like, okay, I jumped into this too soon. I have too much going. Like I'm trying to get a career going. I'm trying to get life established with my kids again. I'm trying to like work out how to be a very present parent and be engaged in
Right.
all these school
Right.
activities and extracurriculars. And I thought I'm going to have to take some time off. Um, and then I just stopped and thought, there's never, it's kind of like having kids. There's never a perfect time for it.
Right. Right.
You just have to do it. Like, so
Yep.
I just really sat down and was like, okay, where can um, how can I make the best use of my time? So my daughter has dance classes 4 days a week. I ended up coming to the director of our office because her dance studio is right around the corner from our office. So, when she's in dance, instead of me like going and running errands or just filling that time or watching her dance, can I come to the office after hours and do my schoolwork while she's
Yep.
dancing? And that was a saving grace. So I'm very appreciative
Perfect.
for the
Yeah.
support that my organization has given me in pursuing my education.
Yep.
Um, but then too, you have some weeks that are just, you're like, I just can't do it. This is just too much. I cannot manage all this. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You always turn around. There's always like a seminar that really excites you and motivates you again, or there's an assignment or a reading that you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That this will be worth it in the long run. And I think too, like all the professors are so communicative. And so if you will just talk to them about what's going on,
Right.
and let them know, they work with you. They work with you great.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. And so it's just been a very supportive. I've had assignments I've had to turn in a few days late, or and it's been okay. Get it
Yeah.
done.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
better late than never, and
Absolutely.
just I'm a perfectionist by nature, and so there was a
Mhm.
whole lot of stress into, okay, the deadline is tonight, but sometimes it's okay just to take a breath and give yourself an extra 24 or 36 hours. I wouldn't
Absolutely.
make a habit of it, but I've learned that instead of just like getting overwhelmed and stressing yourself out and just letting like that mental angst set in, just to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, you're in this space that everyone here is working adults, everyone is juggling. This is what this program is set up for.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we've started making these videos too, is to show students that you're not alone. Like
Yeah.
everyone is struggling with similar things. Some different,
Right.
but a lot of the underlying things are very similar. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved your example of just kind of being creative with your time. I have this chunk of time. If I could figure out a way to make it work, I mean, that's great. I mean, I think that's such a big part of as adults, time management is just being creative with how you can plug things in. So
Well,
that
and
was
the
great.
reality is, like, I am not 20 anymore. And so when I was doing my bachelor's, I would stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and
Right.
do
Right.
schoolwork
Yep.
and then get up at 6 and go back to school. I am
Right.
too old for that. I can't
Right.
do that anymore.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, I have a 10 o'clock bedtime that I have to stick to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I get that 100%.
yeah.
And well, actually, let me ask you this first. Have you had a favorite course? And if you haven't, that's okay. But sometimes students like to share that.
So actually, I'm more excited. I've had my favorite instructor was Dr. Harry. She was
Okay.
wonderful. But the course that I just started, I think now is going to be my favorite. It's like program
Awesome.
management.
Okay.
Just because it's so funny because the way our organization is set up, you have all these teams, and in doing like the readings and starting this course, I thought, oh, well, there is a method to their madness. Like this is like, yeah, I understand what's
Yep.
going on
Yep.
now. So yeah,
Good. Good. That's
yeah.
so great. What about, and you've kind of done this already, but if you were going to give some advice to a student, maybe just coming into the master's program, what would you say to them?
I would say set realistic expectations for yourself first and try to
Mhm.
have a somewhat of a routine. Routine is difficult if you're a single parent, if you have kids, like life is always going to happen, life is going to life. But
Yep.
as much as it's in your control, stay on a routine. I do homework on a little bit on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. I try to
Yep.
stick to that. There are weeks that, I have outside meetings or I have an extra dance recital or something like that I can't do that. But for the most part, that routine and take care of yourself.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's a huge going back to school, especially as an adult, especially with kids and with jobs. You just have to like take care of yourself, but remind yourself every day that you can do it. I get up and have like I scroll through Pinterest and read like motivational quotes on education a lot,
Oh,
just because
awesome.
it's like
Yeah.
you just need like that little bit of positivity in your life, and then also if you can find someone like I would say a mentor, but like a support system who's going through it.
Yep.
Also, and it can be in the most like unexpected of places. I
Hmm.
met a guy at a meeting I went to. It's been 6 or 7 months ago. He was kind of in the same boat I was. We were both pursuing our masters, so we're like each other's motivator. But
That's
we just
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that
Oh, I
helps
love
me
that.
too. Yeah.
I love that. Well, this has been amazing. I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
sharing. Is there anything I didn't ask or anything you want to share that we didn't touch on?
No, I will say if there's anyone, I shared my story. This is kind of the first time outside of CEO that I've shared my story. And I
Mhm.
was really, really hesitant about doing it when I was first started pursuing my master's. But then it kind of dawned on me in order to get the most out of my education, I'm going to have to share it. Like, I need
Mhm.
to share it.
Mhm.
It's part of healing, number one.
Right. Right.
But then I just wanted to be very authentic and genuine in my assignments. But it was
Right.
met with such positivity and such support that I would just encourage anyone who, if you're going through addiction or through incarceration or homelessness or mental health or whatever that is, if you feel like sharing your story would help heal you, that this is a really safe space to do it in. So
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you feel that way.
yeah,
And I think also to help heal others. I mean, I think when people are able to listen to your story and see what amazing things you're doing now, I mean, what an incredible story and powerful story. And that's going to help others too. So I really
thank you
appreciate
so
you doing
much.
this.
Yeah, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.